should be able to see it.
Are we live?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're muted.
Shows muted on my hand.
Test.
Hello.
Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina. Welcome to the Sunday night live stream show. Trying to get the camera working. There it is. Happy Sunday night, y'all. Welcome to the live stream show. Hopefully you guys are ready for a good time and a great show. Looking forward to talking fishing and answering questions and giving away free trips. That's right. Every Sunday night, it's your chance to win $1,500 in free fishing trips. We're going to give away a 5-hour half day for 2, a 10-hour all day for 2, and a 39-hour trip for 1 lucky winner as well. So all you have to do is join the show, watch the entire show live, comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. You can watch on YouTube, you can watch on Instagram, you can watch on TikTok, or one of the many Facebook pages, but you have to go to Facebook, find the Hubbard's Marina page, comment one time on the live video. That's how you're entered for a chance to win. Then from there, you just have to watch the show live. If you're picked as one of the lucky winners, you got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address, and that's how you're picked. That's how you enter, and that's how you pick, and that's how you claim your free fishing trips. That's right. So hopefully you're ready for a good time. We're going to be talking about what we're catching now. We're going to show you photos of what we're seeing. We're going to talk a little bit about the weather. Then we're going to get into a little bit of the Golf Council meeting next week. And then we're going to get into your questions. Remember, we answer your questions live during the show, and if you want a chance to have your question answered live during the show, you have to text it to the phone number on the screen. So text in your questions. Don't forget to comment for a chance to win, and sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So with that, let's get rolling here. But before we do have to give a shout out to our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Gator Jim's Tackle is the one who brought you this show. So definitely stop on by and see our friends over at Gator Jim's. Tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. They have an incredible selection, killer deals, great staff, very knowledgeable, super friendly. Definitely don't miss out on a chance to visit Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Also, as well, we want to give a shout out to all of our supporters out there. Our supporters in our supporters group definitely help fuel the show as well. And it's a special private group you get access to if you become a supporter. It's only $4.99 a month. You get access to our private supporters after show. You get some behind the scenes info, some more connectivity and communication, and you get to know about things before anyone. So check out becoming a supporter today. Again, it's only $4.99 a month. Josh put the link in the comments. It's also on our website. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, it's under more info, right, Josh? Fishing. It's under fishing trips. And then fishing trips information. Oh, yeah. Click fishing trips, click more info, and then hit supporters club. That's how you find the supporters club for sure. So check it out. It's only $4.99 a month, and big shout out to all of our supporters out there who help make this show possible as well. And then finally, before we show you the photos, we want to make sure we give a shout out to all those who have sent stars. Stars are a way for those watching on Facebook to show their support, and it really helps us do what we do even more. So Stephen Batchelor, appreciate you, buddy. Angel Parent Perez with a big 5,000 stars. Thank you, Angel. Larry with 1,000. Ralph Driscoll, what's up, man? Hope you're feeling better. Angie Darling with the big 1,000. Thank you, Angie. Brian Eakins, Mick Higgins, Ed Mack, Scott Flynn with the big 500, LaShonda Brown with 600. Thank you, LaShonda. Adam Franklin with 500. D Beers with a big 1,200. It was good seeing Mike this past week. D, we missed you. Troy Davis with 500. Appreciate you, buddy. Ken Gurney as well. Timothy McCardle, Estelle Wolfman. And we had James McCullum with the big 500, Don Schuett with the big 800, and Edward Nellis too. So super appreciate all the stars, especially you, Angel, with the big 5,000 tonight. Thank you so much. All right, with that, let's get right into the photos and show you photos of what we've been catching this past week. First things first, we'll start inshore and show you what we've been catching inshore. Sheep's head bite has been fired up, and normally they slack off a little bit as water temperatures warm, but that has not happened yet, so we're still seeing quite a few of these sheep's head, which has been super, super fun for us. And they're a lot of fun to target around our docks, piers, bridges, jetties. Some big news inshore is that the snook are slowly creeping back into the pass. We are starting to see some snook around the dock, the bridge, the jetty, but it is very early and there's not a lot of them. Trout bite has been incredible, seeing a lot of trout throughout our entire area. The tarpon are starting to show up too, which is super exciting. A lot of these are residential fish. The big migratory groups haven't really shown up yet, but residents are moving around and doing their thing for sure. Black drum have been active. It's always funny. Jared always calls these sheep's head in our email folder, Josh. It's pretty funny every week. But the black drum are moving around on the mangroves, the grass flats, the oyster bars. We're seeing some hogfish near shore. We're going to get near shore here shortly. Some nice redfish action, though. The redfish have been pretty steady. As I mentioned, John's Pass snook. Look at that. Our man, John Sasser, the man, the myth, the legend, has been catching them. He caught a few last week. He's caught a few more this week. It's good to see the John's Pass guys catching these snook again. So that means it's not far off for the rest of us who don't full-time snook fish in the pass like those guys. But seeing some nice snook still up in the back bay waters, upper bay, back bay areas. Some good snook. That new moon last weekend definitely provided some good dock light fishing. We're on a quarter moon this weekend, and we've got a full moon next weekend. Some nice snook action, though. The snook are on the move. They're starting to feed real active, along with the tarpon starting to move around. Look at that horse of a snook there from the back upper bay waters. You could tell how far up the bay that snook is by how dark it is. You see how black the fins are? That fish is still pretty far back in the upper bay and back bay waters, but what an absolute beast. One of our local Salt Strong members horsed up. Some nice big trout out on the beaches. Our friends from the beach, Pete and Scott and their friend Amy, definitely putting on a clinic out there on the beach with the trout. Some good John's Pass bridge light fishing for the trout too. Quite a few trout out there. The bite has been solid, and some big trout lately too. Capt Mike was talking on the show this past weekend on Saturday that they had a tournament with, like, I think it was 26 boats. 5 trout were brought in to the weigh-in, not brought in, but pictures were shown of 5 trout over 26 inches, which is pretty cool. So not a lot of boats fishing, only 26, and 5 trout over 26 inches. So pretty solid, stellar trout bite as of late. Let's work our way near shore, show you what we're catching a little deeper. Near shore, we've definitely been seeing some good action out there near shore. Some flounder starting to show up, get a little bit active. These flounder will kind of dissipate a little bit. We still catch a handful in the summer, but cooler months is when we encounter the flounder on our half-day trips and all-day trips a little bit more frequently. We're still seeing some hogfish. The hogfish bite slowed down a little bit. We're definitely not targeting them quite as much, fishing a little deeper on the 10-hour because that hogfish bite did slack up a little bit, but we're still seeing them. Even when fishing deeper, 70, 80, 90 foot, catching more lanes and mangroves and having a better chance for the red grouper, we're still seeing a handful of these hogfish. This is from our 5-hour half day actually, so you're still getting a few of them on the 5-hour half day as well. Some private fishing charters catching the hogfish. So the hogfish are still around, slowed down a little bit, but we're still seeing quite a few of them. Red grouper starting to show up here and there on the 10-hour all day. Some big black sea bass. Look at this sheep's head in the wrong folder. Sorry guys, but look at that weird sheep's head Dan the Fishman caught this past week. It's got a weird lines on it. Normally they're pretty vertical and they're not touching. This one's got some weird ones to it. There's a more typical sheep's head stripe pattern compared to this one, right? Pretty pretty odd. But we're seeing some sheep's head out there on our 5-hour half days occasionally. The mackerel are super thick near shore, around our piers, even inshore. The fishing piers around deeper flats with moving water, but near shore we're seeing a lot of them. Lots of heads and tails, plenty of good eating gray snapper. The mangrove bite has been pretty solid near shore. Offshore, it's been a little bit tougher for us, but it's spotty. There's some trips, like the Flying Hub 2 went out there and crushed 100 mangroves with just a handful of people, whereas sometimes we get out there on a 39-hour and we get into an area and there's more red snapper, it makes it challenging. Or last couple trips we've been running into big numbers of vermilion, which has made it challenging. Big queen triggerfish we had to catch and release. A stud red snapper we were putting down on the descending gear. Some nice big scamp. The Flying Hub 2 trip that had some decent weather a few days ago had 8 keeper scamp. Fishing a little deeper once again, and definitely getting a better chance for those scamp and mutton. We had, I think, close to 10 mutton on the last 39-hour trip. Some catch and release gag grouper action. Fat red grouper are back in action as well. Always good to see those big fatty red groupers showing up. So some studly reds and some nice scamp, and lots of the mangroves and the yellowtails and muttons have picked back up now that we're fishing deeper once again. Should see some pelagic action. We haven't really seen a ton of it, which is a little surprising, but hopefully we will. As you can see, though, fishing is going pretty well for us. Triggerfish, of course, are open. We're catching some nice triggers here and there as well. So it's a good time to get out there and do some catching with us. Man, I'm having trouble with the buttons tonight. Sorry, guys. Tricked you. All right, so that's what we've been catching inshore and near shore. Let's get into the weather and show you guys what it's looking like weather-wise, and then we will get into some announcements and then your questions. Remember, if you have questions you want answered live during the show, phone number is on the screen, 727-393-1947. Shoot us a text message to that phone number, and we'll answer your questions live during the show. All right, let's get right over to the website, hubbardsmarina.com. Click fishing trips and click weather links page. We'll start in our 5 and 10 hour forecast area and see what the wind is doing. And you can see what I see. The wind is just seemingly on. Someone has turned the fan on and left it running. It is breezy and is seemingly breezy most of the week. Thursday and Friday look like the 2 best days coming up, and then after this upcoming weekend, backside of that and full moon, it looks like the wind calms down a little bit too, which is good to see. Today was breezy. It was pretty tough. We had to cancel our 10-hour trip, but the half day squeaked out there. It wasn't great fishing, unfortunately. That wind made it tough, high pressure. The water was a little stirred up and muddy, so tough fishing today. Tomorrow we're going to squeak out there in the morning. The afternoon tomorrow is going to be a little bit sporty, so we're just going to squeak in 1 half day in the morning. Tuesday, I don't know if we're going to be able to get out there. That wind switches out of the north. We got a little cold front rolling through. We're going to have some weather that morning, so I'm not feeling too good about Tuesday. Wednesday, it calms down a little bit, but still going to be breezy. At least it will be a sunny, beautiful day, so we might be able to sneak out there Wednesday, but it's going to be bumpy. I think we're going to have to cancel the extreme trip, unfortunately. Thursday's looking okay and actually pretty good now. Thursday's getting better and better, so Thursday might be the best day. Friday, or Thursday or Friday, really. Thursday and Friday both looking like a good option. It picks up over the weekend, another little front potentially over the weekend, and then it calms down again next week. So looking forward to Thursday and Friday being our best chances to capitalize on some fishing, it seems like, weather-wise. But the big thing to remember, this time of year, forecasts are pretty much useless because winds or weather can shift so much. A lot of this wind that we have is caused by fronts coming down and stalling, or fronts coming down and meeting high pressures, and you get these pressure ridges, and they're really hard to forecast, and a lot of times they can change. So I wouldn't get too worked up if you're looking 2, 3, 4 days into the future. A lot of times that weather can shift or completely change. So I wouldn't get too upset if you're concerned about a trip coming up later later in the week because, like I said, weather can shift. So just keep an eye on it, keep checking, and we're going to keep watching as well, and try to keep you updated too. All right. With that, we have talked about what we're catching. We showed you the weather. We do want to remind you guys again, we have an upcoming in-person event coming up. That is Tuesday night, April 15th. Tuesday night, April 15th from 7 to 9 p.m. We're going to be over there at OCC Roadhouse off 49th Street. It's kind of like mid-Pinellas, OCC Roadhouse. It is a great time. And hopefully you can all join us for that event. We'd love to see you guys come out and have a good time talking fishing. It's going to be myself and Capt. Mike Anderson there. And we're really looking forward to having everybody join us. Again, that's Tuesday night, April 15th, 7 to 9 p.m. Hopefully you can come out and join us for sure. Then also, we want to make sure we get into a little bit about the Gulf Council meeting. I'm going to be flying out early tomorrow morning to head up to Alabama, and it is going to be a 4-day grind of Gulf Council meetings this week, and we'll update you. We're going to talk tonight a little bit about what the meeting agenda has in store, and then we're going to talk briefly on that. And then next week during the show, we're going to update you on what came of the meeting. So a little bit about what's supposed to happen. Then next week will be some of the discoveries that were made at the meeting. So definitely don't miss out on next week's live stream show every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. So hopefully you can join us for that. All right, with that, let's get right into it and talk briefly about what this Gulf Council meeting is going to hold in store for us. Then we're going to get into your questions. So the meeting is April 7th through 10th. That's this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The first 3 days of the meeting is always committee meetings. They meet in these smaller groups at the big table. So there's 17 voting members of the Gulf Council. The committees are made up of a subset of the 17 individuals at the table. Everybody's involved in the conversation, but only a few people can vote in the committees. And then Wednesday, there's public comment where the public gets to stand up and speak. And then Thursday, they come to full council where all 17 members get to vote on what was talked about in committee. Sometimes things can change. Sometimes things stay the same. You never know. So it's really important to kind of keep an eye on what happens during committee, but then also during full council. Sometimes what happened in committee can be changed based on public comment. So really, really important to kind of keep a thumb on the pulse. The meeting kicks off a Monday morning with choral committee, which is super boring. Not really super involved in the coral stuff. It's a lot of the National Marine Sanctuary, and we don't have any National Marine Sanctuaries directly in our area. Closest one is the Keys, the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. We have some further north of us too, but nothing directly in our area, so Choral Committee is not as eventful for us. Then Monday morning is data collection. This gets a little bit more interesting and important because they are going to be discussing the Southeast For-Hire Integrated Electronic Reporting, or CFIRE. And that is the mandatory reporting for charter boats that we had. And then unfortunately there was a lawsuit and it got set aside. And unfortunately we're working to get it stood back up. So that will be important information, and hopefully we'll get closer to finally getting our charter reporting back to mandatory daily reporting. Then Monday, mid-morning, is the CDAR committee. That is the Southeast Data and Assessment Review. That's what CDAR stands for. And that's basically the order in which Gulf assessments are going to happen. So the different species in which they're going to assess and how they're going to move forward with those assessments. So that's always interesting to kind of keep an idea of what assessments are coming, when they start, when they're scheduled to end, and all that stuff. Then they go into shrimp, which again doesn't really necessarily pertain to us. Shrimp is the rest of the day. Tuesday they get into reef fish, and this will be interesting. I wonder if they have state. So they don't have the reef fish landings on here. Summary, no. Dang it, it's always a surprise, and they always bust them out at the meeting and show you what the landings are for reef fish. unfortunately, it doesn't look like they have it ready for us to look at tonight to see what surprises are coming. But I know one big surprise was they're claiming that we overfished amberjack a lot. So we were expecting amberjack season to be September and October this year. But with that bomb dropping this week at the council meeting, that the amberjack quota got overshot by a lot, that means the season's going to be shorter. So we were expecting all of September and October for amberjack, but I don't know. I don't know how much time we're going to get for amberjack, if much at all. I know they're going to talk about the modifications to deepwater grouper. We don't really fish deepwater grouper, but it is huge, huge cuts coming, which is not good. Then they're going to talk about the recreational initiative, which is a pretty interesting thing. They're trying to improve recreational fishermen's buy-in, or basically opinion of the process, and they're trying to make it easier for recreational fishermen to be more involved, and trying to get more engagement from recreational fishermen. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how that shakes out. Then Tuesday afternoon is all about more of the refish. They're going to go over the stock assessment for mutton snapper, which is super positive. They're going to go over the stock assessment for yellowtail snapper, which is also super positive. Then they're also going to review the stock assessment for red grouper, This stock assessment was just completed in 2025, and it has a terminal year of data of 2022. So this assessment just finished, and they are just now starting to review it for management. And the data is from 2022. So if they make a decision this year and it's implemented hopefully next year, that means they're going to start managing in 2026 on data from 2022. Not good. But the good news is it was really positive. And the quota for red grouper right now is a little less than 4 million pounds. The quota is going to go up to, like, I've heard some back of the napkin, off the record early predictions. Quota is going to go up over 9 million pounds. So we're going to go from like about 4 to about 9. That is more than double. So our red grouper fishery is supposed to be about 5-6 months. If that quota doubles, potentially our season could double, our access could double. So we could go back to seeing almost a 12-month red grouper fishery, which is huge, huge news. Hopefully they'll have this digested and rules in place so we can actually do that in 2026. It would be really frustrating if we get this information, we know red grouper's healthy, the stock assessment says red grouper's healthy, and they take a long time to implement the regulation, which happens. Normally stock assessments can take 6 to 12 months before they implement, and if that's the case, it's going to be really, really frustrating to go into 2026 with a super short red grouper season when we're supposed to have almost a year. On that note of frustrating fisheries regulations, we've got Captain Mike Anderson on the line. What's up, buddy?
Timing. Timing's impeccable.
Perfect segue. Perfect segue. What's going on, man?
Oh, just living the dream, watching the wind blow the money off my money tree.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I gotta get a seed for that. I'd like to have one
yeah,
of those.
Yeah, I'd like to have one that actually had money on it. That'd be good.
Yeah, the wind is definitely treacherous as of late. It is. It's been blowing. I mean, but this is typical, right? That's one thing I try to remember is, hey, this is a typical spring, and hopefully it'll end soon.
Yeah, I need a break for sure. It would be nice to, and I don't mind windy, but good God, it went from 15 to 25 to 20 to 30. So, I mean, it's just, oof.
Yeah. 15 to 20 is manageable. 20 to 30 is not okay.
Yeah, it's a little barbaric.
Yeah.
So, especially the run I needed to make for tomorrow. So, we'll stay in the office, try to get some stuff done, and dream about big snook and redfish and giant trout.
The trout bite has been nuts.
It's insane. It's been years, and I mean, I'll bet you every bit of 7 years that I've even seen anything close to what we're seeing this year as far as big trout. I mean, I still think our numbers are off, and I think that's habitat related, because there's areas that we used to catch them that they're just not there because there's no habitat there. But the number of big fish that we've seen this year is incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. The tournament I had on Friday, we had 21 boats, I think, 21 boats running, or 20 boats running, 20 or 21. And we had like 4 fish over 26 inches.
Dang. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I got really good captains and they've been on them, but that's some impressive speckled trout for this part of the West Coast. It's, that's, St. Joseph Sound up there towards Ozona, Palm Harbor, just north of the Dunedin Causeway there. We've seen a lot of big fish in there for years. They haven't been punished quite as bad as us with the red tides. So that area has been very trout healthy. I just filmed a show up there with Captain Jimmy Huddleston, and we caught a pile of really big, beautiful, healthy trout, which I wasn't surprised to see up there. But for us to have the big fish that we've had, it's pretty special for sure. And the number of redfish too. And I know we've talked about that a bunch throughout the whole winter, but the number of redfish we're seeing, the amount of schools we're seeing early, is pretty exciting. Snook bite, I think, is still a little off, but that might have to do with just the normalcy of it all. It might just be, water temps aren't quite right. So, although there was some big fish caught last week, so I thought maybe it was getting better. Maybe that'll slow down a little bit with the cool down next week, but. Again, the snook or the trout and redfish bites making up for anything we're missing right now.
This guy from Salt Strong had a snook photo submitted this week. It had to be in the 45, at least 42 plus inch range. It was a horse,
really?
But the fins were black, so he was way back up in the creek or river. Or
river fishing. I had a couple of guys from Friday's group trip that said they had 40 plus inch fish on and lost them.
Wow.
So let's just say that fish was probably, every bit of 35 or 36. You know what I mean? So really big upper end fish. Yeah. I know the very first fish weighed in the tournament was 33 and a half inches.
Wow.
So they're starting to show. Yeah. Anything over 30 is a really good fish.
I always like
then obviously over 40 is ridiculous.
When you see a snook go cruising by the dock in the morning and it's got like an 8-inch remora on its back, I'm like,
right.
It's a submarine.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There's those are pretty special. I really need to go over at some point. I'd like to go over there to the East Coast and do some of that East Coast fishing where they seem to get even bigger and brawnier than what we get over here. That would be fun. I got to figure that little piece out.
The Jupiter Inlet.
Yeah, something to do. Yeah, I'd like to go do that over there and just see it when it's good.
The Mad Snooker goes on vacation to go snook fishing in Jupiter Inlet?
Well, of course he does. Yeah, he's the one that's actually Dave Pomerleau, the Mad Snooker, is the one he's talked to me several times about going over there when they go and fishing for them big fish with croakers like they do. And he said it's ridiculous. And if it's snook fishing that excites him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's got a few studs to his credit. So,
just a few.
No doubt. Yeah. Also, I like this wind to stop blowing, so I get out there and do some kingfish.
Yeah, it is.
That'd be good.
It's been pretty fishy out there. The tournaments are steadily weighing in bigger fish. I mean that early kingfish tournament, I think 2 weekends ago, there was only a handful of fish caught, and the winner was like, I think, mid-20s, or even low 20s. I think it was like 22 pounds. But the kingfish tournament this past weekend was upper end of 30s, caught the winning fish. So it's cool to see. Suncoast Kingfish Classic is coming up this weekend, so I'm interested to see what the winning fish is from that.
Yeah, no doubt. It's probably just going to continue to get better. I've heard good things about the bite. Both out in front of St. Pete and out in front of Clearwater. So, it's a good time to be a fisherman in Florida. That's all I know. Yeah, buddy.
Great time. All right, man. Well, we'll see you this weekend, and then looking forward to April 15th from 7 to 9 p.m. at OCC Roadhouse.
Yes, sir. No address required.
No, sir. Just look up OCC Roadhouse. And I was thinking about it. I was thinking about you earlier in my head because in the beginning of the show, I just took a page right out of your book for some reason, and every show I start the show by talking about our friends at Gator Gyms. They're the title sponsor of our show. And I say, go visit Gator Gyms, and then I give the address. So I was making fun of myself in my head. I'm like, I got to stop doing that.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a place that if you're giving overkill,
yeah,
then the people that are listening should be thrilled because Gator Gyms is a special place. No one I've ever met, 25 years in the business, 22 years on the radio, 19 years of TV. I've been doing this game a long time. I've been in a lot of tackle stores. I don't know anybody. I just don't know anybody that does it like Jim Bickle. I just don't. And that's why his deals are so good and why the store is always chock full of great stuff.
And he's
the guy's
such a nice
just
guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Great human being. He does so much charity stuff that they hardly ever take credit for. It's ridiculous. So,
he does charity stuff and then tells you not to tell people. That's crazy.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he's not looking for any love for it. He just does it because it should be done. So
100%.
He's a super, super good guy. And there's a lot of great deals in there. He's always got the newest stuff, and he's always wheeling and dealing. So.
And it's the only tackle shop that other tackle shops go to buy tackle because he does that for us at Hubbard.
Good point.
We buy tackle from him. We buy rods from him. So other tackle shops shop at Gator Gyms. It's pretty wild.
That's a great point. That's a good point. That is true. Very true.
All
right, my brother. Well, have a good week.
All right, man. You too. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Talk soon.
See you, buddy. Yep, Angel, you got to write those addresses down. Yeah, we had a radio show this past weekend, and I don't know why, but Mike keeps asking me to give out the address to OCC Roadhouse when we're plugging the live event, Josh. And I'm like, dude, why do you keep asking me to give out the address? No one is sitting at their house right now with a pen and paper writing down the address. And then the day of the event, they're pulling out that piece of paper and entering the address. When's the last time you did that? You just hop on Google Maps and type in OCC Roadhouse, right? So I started making fun of him for it, and he was like, yeah, you're right. So no more addresses. We just say the names of places. So
I can literally tell my phone where I want to go, and it'll let me there.
Yeah, I talk to Siri.
Yeah, like, hey, Siri, navigate to OCC Roadhouse.
And most of the time, it already knows where you're going. Mm-hmm. Like, you go to open maps. Dude, you said, hey, Siri, and now she's talking to us. That's pretty funny. But, yeah, most of the time you open maps and go to type in the address, and it already knows where you're heading. At least my phone does with that predictive stuff. It's a little unsettling.
Well,
it knows where I'm going before I know where I'm going.
To be fair, you have probably the most organized calendar I've ever seen anybody have.
My calendar.
Your desktop, crap.
Dude, Motion.
Your calendar, perfect.
Motion AI. If you're looking for a calendar resource, I'm not sponsored or anything. I pay for the service, but it is bad to the bone. AI calendar. It's the future, bro. It's nice. All right, moving on. What were we talking about? Golf Council stuff. Let's get back into it before we were sidetracked. So, red grouper, super healthy. Quota is going to be more than doubled. Season should hopefully more than double too. Hopefully they get that rule in place for 2026. This year it's super frustrating. Red grouper are going to potentially close mid to late May. So we are only about a month and a half away from red grouper closing. And that's really frustrating that they're going to close red grouper down early when we know that we're supposed to get a huge increase in quota. So hopefully they'll have the rule in place for 2026 so we can have that bigger quota next year. It would be really, 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 really upsetting if the rule doesn't get put in place in time, and then in 2026 we only get a 4 or 5 month season, and we're still waiting for that 2022 data to be made regulation. So, moving on. there is more discussion Tuesday about the shallow water grouper catch limits. So they're going to not only cut deep water grouper, but also shallow water grouper, yellow edge, yellowmouth, and scamp are getting pretty big cuts, unfortunately. Potentially a season in place for scamp here shortly, and we're finding out, arguing over what that should be. I'm trying to make it the longest possible season. They're proposing April, May, and then August through the end of the year. So that would essentially be for 6 months, April, May, and then August to the end of the year. But some people want it to be open June 1st and have scamp grouper open with red snapper. And if that's the case, the season would be really short. It is nice to have things open at the same time so you can catch a lot of fish, but also it's nice to have things spread out so you have longer seasons. So you got to kind of pick and choose which way you want to go with it, unfortunately. Wednesday, they get into some of the information about red lane snapper. The size limit increase on lane snapper going from 8 inches to 10 inches hopefully will be finalized at this meeting. But it's going to take so long to implement. We're probably going to have a lane snapper closure this year, unfortunately, again, because they won't be able to get this rule passed in time, because it takes NOAA 6 to 12 months to take what the council votes on and actually make it rules, which is really, really, really silly. Then Wednesday mid-morning, talking about return 'em right science, as return 'em right is running out of funding, which means the program will potentially end unless they get more funding. And then they go into public comment Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon, and that's when if you want to, you can call in, you can join the webinar, you can write in comments, you can email comments. There's a lot of different ways, or you could show up in person in Alabama. But definitely you yourself watching this video right now could join the webinar Wednesday afternoon and speak to anything that you want to. One thing that we're going to try to do, I skipped over it, is right here. Yep. Tuesday afternoon, the 20 fathom recreational closure. I've been trying to get rid of this since 2016, and I think this is my shot, guys, and I'm really pumped. The 20 fathom closure in February and March is the stupidest thing ever. It was put in place originally, like way back in the day, like 10, 12 years ago, to protect gag grouper spawning. Well, gags are closed in February and March, so why do we have some rule in place to protect gag grouper spawning when gags aren't even open then? Then they were like, well, it's protecting red grouper spawn too, and we have such a problem with red grouper. Well, now there's super healthy red grouper. The stock assessment says the quota should more than double. We should go back to a 12-month season. So if red grouper's healthy, we're already protecting gags. Let's get rid of this rule. It only applies to recreational fishermen. It doesn't apply to commercial fishermen. It makes no sense. It needs to go. It's also it's impossible to enforce. There's no enforcement out there to make this rule even worth it. So we got to get rid of it. And I'm hoping this is my chance. They told me no last year because they were worried red grouper season is only 5 or 6 months, so they didn't want to remove the shallow water grouper closure, which could potentially make red grouper season even shorter. So now that red grouper season is going to go to 10, 12 months long, let's get rid of this. Now's our chance, and I'm going to try my best to get that done. Then Thursday they go into public or full council, which is where everything concludes, and then they make the final decision. So that was a brief overview of what we expect, and those are my two main things: making sure lane snapper size limits get put in place as quick as possible, and hopefully maybe avoid a closure this year. Definitely want to get rid of that 20 fathom closure. Definitely want that data reporting back for charter boats and party boats, and then also want to make sure we do everything we can to get that red grouper increase as soon as possible. And there is a very small, super slight chance that we are making some progress and potential to maybe get red grouper open longer this year, but I don't know. I don't want to even speak about that because I don't want to curse it. But there is a chance, there is a little bit of precedence that we might be able to convince an emergency action, emergency rule to potentially keep red grouper open longer. Because it makes no sense to close red grouper in 5 months this year because they're so overfished and the quota is so small, and then turn around January 1st and be like, yo, red grouper's super healthy. Fish them all year now. We don't care. Doesn't make any sense, right? So if we know they're super healthy, that data we're using from 2022 says so, then let's increase the red grouper fishery now, not wait. But federal law and such precludes us from doing that. But there's a slight chance we might be able to use some precedents that has been set in the South Atlantic to our favor, but we'll see. We're trying. Gags, there's not much we can do about gags right now. A lot of people are commenting gags. Gags need a stock assessment, but that stock assessment is coming, and it's going to be starting soon. And that stock assessment will hopefully be positive like this red grouper one, and then we can see some changes for gags. Remember, we're managing gags based off data from 2019. It's 2025. The data is 6 years old. We need an assessment for gag grouper ASAP to update that science. So, all right, with that, let's get into some questions. But before we get into questions, we got to do our first giveaway of the night. So we got a 5-hour half day for 2 to give away, a 10-hour all day for 2, and a 39-hour for 1. Remember how you enter to win. You got to watch the entire show live. You got to comment once on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook live stream. Then you got to stay tuned. If you're picked as one of the lucky winners, you got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to win a free trip. What's the best way to win a free trip? The best way to win a free trip is to join us for the entire show and comment when we start the show at 7:30. That way it shows you're in the show for a long period of time. That gives you a better chance. If you join the show halfway through and comment, it's not as good of a chance. You get more chance to win. The random name comment picker is more likely to pick you if you join the show early and comment early. So join early, watch the whole show, comment often. That's how you get a chance to win and increase your chances to win. All right, let's give away a 5-hour half day for 2 guests. One lucky winner is... Uh-oh. We're going to have to redraw that one, guys. The lucky winner was Hubbard's Marina. But don't worry, we're going to pick again. That would be funny if we were like, oh, yeah, we won. Sorry, guys. All right, lucky winner, 5-hour half day for 2 is... Please don't be Dylan Hubbard. William Maloof. Congratulations, William from Wisconsin. You've got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address to prove you're watching live. So watch the whole show live, comment early, then stay tuned. If you're picked as a lucky winner, you got to text us within 5 minutes. All right, let's get into some questions and see what we got. Watching the live stream, I was planning on a 39-hour trip, hoping, I understand there's a front coming. What would be the better date to book? So really, it's hard to look at these trips and make a decision what the weather's going to be like. So this person is looking at going like middle or late month and asking what's the better trip to go on. It's hard to know what's the better trip to go on because we don't know the exact weather pattern, right? But the difference between 1 week and the next week is going to be very similar. A lot of people get super caught up in like, what is the moon doing and what's happening here? But remember, moon phase is only one of the many variables, right? There's a litany of different variables from things like water temperature, water clarity, salinity, chlorophyll, thermocline, barometric pressures. There's a huge list of things that can affect whether or not the fish are going to be biting well or not biting well. So when planning a trip, look at your schedule. If you got time to go fishing and you're not too busy, it's a good time to go fishing. Because if you get too caught up on trying to figure out when is the best time, you're not going to go. So pick a time. I always tell people, if you have like a week you want to go fishing, I always recommend to plan the trip early in that week. If you can go fishing on the 18th and the 25th, pick the 18th, because if weather is bad or things come up or the weather is bad, right? You can reschedule to that second date. So if you're coming into town from Ohio or Wisconsin and you know you're going to be in town for 10 days and you want to go fishing while you're in town, book that trip, that fishing trip, your first, second, third day you're in town, because then if the weather is bad, you can reschedule it and have an opportunity to still go fishing. So it's always early. It's always a good idea to go early, book early, and then have a fallback option. Looking for some advice on jigging on the 39-hour trip in mid-May. I have personally done very little jigging, but I would like to try it. Tips on jig sizes, when to jig, all that. If you're new to jigging, I would focus on jigging only on our 12-hour extreme, 39-hour, 44-hour trips. Jig fishing is the opposite of normal fishing. If you're a first-time fisherman, starting on a 5-hour half day is best, because shallow water, easier to feel the bite, all that good stuff. Jig fishing is the opposite. It's actually easier to start jig fishing in deeper water. So fishing normally about 100, 120 foot or more is really the best place to learn how to jig fish. Slow pitch jig fishing, you really need a slow pitch jigging rod. And then for jigs in our area, the general rule of thumb is about 1 gram per foot. So if you're fishing 120 to 180 foot on a 39-hour, 12-hour, 44-hour, you want to bring jigs that are about 100 to 250 grams. So you can go a little lighter if the current's not really running too strong, and you can go a little heavier if the current is heavier. Remember, when you're slow pitch jig fishing, you want to be as vertical as possible. Our buddy Tim Duncan was on the radio show with us, and his preference and my preference, or his preference and what I've believed to be true and have learned from people like him, is the best colors for jigs, slow pitch jigs, are generally like those pinkish red, greens, blues, if you're targeting those red grouper. The pinks, the golds, the silvers are a lot really good for snapper species. Daytime is definitely easier if you're a first-time jig fisherman. Nighttime jig fishing is a little bit more challenging. You got to have more glow in it. But advanced jig fishermen do jig well at night. And then jigging shallower than 100 foot is the advanced class. It's a little bit more tricky, and you got to have micro jigs, and you got to really know what you're doing for sure. I like personally, though, about 100 to 250 grams. I have a lot of good luck with like 120 to 180 gram jigs. Shorter, fatter ones for the grouper, longer, slender ones for some of the quicker moving snappers, your pelagics. But I do a lot of short, fat, slow fall. I like those flutter jigs that really drop slowly, and you tend to get more species with them. But I would check out the Fisherman's Hut and go talk to our buddy Tim Duncan or the owner Diogo Yamada down in Bradenton. Also, Gator Gyms has a lot of slow pitch jigs. Almost every tackle shop you go to now has slow pitch jigs and someone who's really into it. So always a good idea to learn from some of the experts and then talk to them. There's a litany of YouTube videos on it too. We have some slow pitch jigging tips and tricks as well. That's a good video. We should get with one of those guys and do some of that for our YouTube too. Yeah, we know a guy. All right, what weight do I use on Friday night 12-hour trips? The 12-hour night snapper in any of our trips. Remember, our website is a huge resource. If you go to our website, the basic questions of what bait, what tackle, what size weight, what's the best bait, what do you recommend, is all on our website. Our website is just packed with information. If people ask me a question more than once, we add it to our website. Josh is constantly yelling at me because I want to add more and more words to our website. And now we've added more and more videos to our website. So literally, the website is always your best resource. But generally, to answer the question, about 3 to 4 ounces is what we fish on conventionals. And then I'll bring a conventional with like 30, 35, maybe 40 pounds of drag. about 40, 50-pound main line, 30, 40-pound leader, and I'm fishing typically about a 2 to 3 ounce egg sinker with that, and then double snell like 4/0 hooks with a cut thread fin. Cut the head, cut the tail, trim the belly, small little chunk of thread fin on that double snell rig is how I'd fish that 12-hour night trip, 3 or 4 ounce. And then I'd also bring with me a spinning reel with around maybe 20 to 30-pound braided line and about a 15-foot piece of about 30-pound mono or fluoro on top, and then about a 1 to 2 ounce egg sinker and a double snell 3 or 4/0 setup on the bottom there for the bite. If it slows down a little bit, it's a little bit more tricky. Maybe I'm fishing shrimp with that spinning rod or a smaller chunk of thread fin. So I have a lighter setup with the spinning reel, and then a little heavier setup too. Do you think the 2025 red snapper season will be open May 22nd for recreational private fishing? I was about to say absolutely not, because our federal for-hire season is guaranteed to open June 1st, and it's probably going to go into, I would say, mid-September, maybe later. I don't know. Which I should hopefully have some information on that this week at that Gulf Council meeting in April, or in Alabama. Private recreational red snapper is managed by the FWC and will be announced by FWC and the governor probably sometime early to mid-May. Maybe. I don't know. I know that the quota, FWC private recreational red snapper quota, was not caught last year. They left a lot of fish in the water. So the season is going to be exponentially longer for private recreational anglers. I wouldn't be surprised if they opened it a little earlier, but May 22nd is a lot earlier. I know some states are opening it the Friday before Memorial Day, which I think would be like May 21st off the top of my head. So there's a chance, but I don't know. Normally the earliest FWC opens it is June 1st. So I would say that's a pretty good bet. It's going to open June 1st, but I don't know. Again, that's private recreational. Our federal for-hire charter boats and party boats will definitely 100,000% be June 1st. You can bet $1 million on it. I'd bet $10 million on it. Confident. 100%. It's going to open June 1st for us, and it's going to go into probably mid to late September is my guess. Not as confident on the ending date. I booked a 10-hour next week and would like to target lane and mangroves. Which bait would be best? So I would, if you want to catch a mangrove snapper on a 10-hour trip, I'd be bringing some shrimp, probably 5 to 10 dozen shrimp, and I would be fishing small chunks of threadfin or live shrimp. I would probably start with a small chunk of threadfin, about maybe 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches long. Trim that belly, get a small chunk, and double snell, probably 4/0 hooks, 30-pound leader, and I'd be fishing like a 2-ounce lead on a spinning reel, and then I'd bring that same like 30, 35, 40-pound drag rating conventional with like a 3 or 4 ounce egg sinker and double snell, maybe 40-pound leader. So I'd have 2 rods. I'd start with the thread fin. If the bite's a little tough, drop down to that lighter setup and live shrimp. Does the moon phases affect the offshore bite as well? Yes and no. A lot of people think that it does, a lot more than it does, but like I said, the moon phase is only one of the variables. There's so many other ones, but generally, new and full moon brings more moving water, inshore and offshore, and generally kind of stirs up the fish and gets them biting a little bit. But there's upsides and downsides. Right ahead of a full moon, like 3, 4, 5 days out, the tides start to pick up, so sometimes that can wake the fish up a little bit, and then near the full moon, the fish start to feed 24 hours because they have the moonlight. So the nighttime fishing gets really good right around the full moon, but the daytime fishing, especially like mid-morning, like 10, 11, 12 to like 2, 3, can sometimes be a little tough on a full moon offshore because the fish have been feeding all night, so they just kind of give up a little bit during the daytime. New moon, the opposite can happen. With a new moon, the water starts moving around, the fish get active, start feeding a little bit more, bait's moving around. but they can't feed at night because there's no moonlight. So sometimes they get a little bit more active during the day and a little bit more hungry because that action is concentrated. So I would say, yes, the moon phase has an effect on fishing, but all of that I just talked about can totally be thrown off if it's cloudy. If it's a full moon night and the nighttime fishing is supposed to be really good because it's a full moon, but it's super cloudy and overcast, there's not going to be any moonlight, and those fish aren't going to feed at night. And on a new moon, something could happen. There could be a cold front, the barometer could be really low, and those fish don't feed at all. So weather plays a big part in it. Barometric pressures, other things really have an effect as well. So don't get too caught up on the moon phases. There's general rules, but it's fishing. It's not a science. You could know everything in the world and still be surprised. You could be the best charter captain in the world, 300 days a year, and still make mistakes. Oh, that's such a funny video, man. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you must live under a rock, because that was some good quality internet gold. What are some of the limits they're trying to put on deepwater grouper? Yellow edge is not a deep... Oh, wait, I got that mixed up, didn't I? What's the shallow water, deep water? The deep water stuff is snowy, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look back at the paperwork. But yellow edge, snowy, scamp are all taking pretty big haircuts. There was a stock assessment for yellow edge, and there was a stock assessment for scamp. And that's totally gonna screw us on both of those. There's like a 50 to 60% cut on the deep water stuff, and the shallow water stuff is like a 40 or 50% cut. So it's not good, but it's a long way off too. It is definitely not something that's going to happen next year, or even, definitely not this year, not next year, probably like 2027. All right. Next question, what do we got? What's the furthest out your boat can go on a 10-hour trip? The 10-hour fishes about 15 to 25 miles from Johns Pass, the 10-hour all day. If you're doing a 10-hour private charter, it changes. The 10-hour on the Flying Hub 2, we can be 40, 50, 60 miles. 10-hour on the Hub, you might only be 25, 30 miles. 10-hour on the Friendly, at the 10-hour open boat trip, it's 15 to 25 miles from Johns Pass. I know the Carolina rig is the way to go, but would a chicken rig work too? It's a frustrating question, buddy. If you haven't watched it yet, we have a bunch of new YouTube video content, and our YouTube channel has some really great videos. We're putting out a new video on YouTube like every other day or every third day. So there's a ton of new videos. In the last 7 days, last 8 days, we've had 4 videos come out. So lots of new YouTube content, and one of them is it's frustrating. I'm still speechless and still frustrated. I got with Captain James Dutton, who runs our 39-hour, who runs our 12-hour night snapper, and we were supposed to be filming a 39-hour secrets video on how to catch the most fish for a 39-hour trip. And it went left field is the best way I can say it. And basically almost everything we talk about in most all the live shows, he pretty much said the opposite. You just have to watch the video. You have to see it to believe it. It's on our YouTube channel. It is the Great Chicken Rig Debate, and it's pretty funny. So Josh put the link in the chat. It's on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe on YouTube. Like 80% of the viewers who watch our YouTube channel are not subscribed. It is very simple to hit subscribe, and it helps exponentially to reach more people. And really put a lot of time, energy, and money into our YouTube channel and our YouTube content. A lot of people work really hard on it. So please subscribe on YouTube, tell your friends, and check out that chicken rig debate video. And that will answer all your questions about chicken rigs, because literally I don't have the patience to talk about it. 100%, without a doubt, If you want to catch quality, don't use a chicken rig. Do you catch quality fish on a chicken rig? Can you catch quality fish on a chicken rig? Yes. There's a million different things that happen every day that defy logic, and crazy things happen, right? So can you catch a quality fish on a chicken rig? Yes. Every time I say it in a seminar, I talk to people, you can't catch quality with chicken rigs. Someone's like, well, I caught an 18-pound red snapper on that chicken rig. Well, red snapper will eat a frickin' spoon out of your kitchen cabinet with a hook on it. Red snapper will eat a chicken bone, a banana. Red snapper are the dumbest fish in the Gulf and the most aggressive. They don't care what you use or how you use it or how you fish. You're going to catch red snapper. If they're down there, they are going to eat. So red snapper don't count. Can you catch mangrove snapper on a chicken rig? Stuff happens. Sometimes they get really aggressive, and yes, you can. Can you catch gag grouper with a chicken rig? Most of the time, not, but it does happen. So crazy things happen, but general rule of thumb, like the moon phase thing, chicken rigs suck, and they're the worst if you want to catch quality fish. If you want to catch a big gag, you want to catch mangrove snapper consistently, catch often, catch big ones, don't use a chicken rig. If you want to catch nice quality fish, no chicken rigs. If you want to catch a lot of fish and you don't care what they are, throw down a chicken rig with some squid on it. You're gonna have a lot of bites. You're gonna have a lot of action. Your rod's gonna be bent a lot. You're gonna see a lot of vermilions, porgies, albicos. You're gonna see some good eating fish, but you're not gonna catch those qualities. Those jackpot winning fish aren't caught on chicken rigs. Guys like John Martin. John Martin's a good example. He wins the jackpot a lot. The guy's been fishing at Hubbard since my grandfather was running the boat, since the 60s. So he fishes very consistently. He's very experienced. You will not catch a guy like John Martin fishing with a chicken rig. He's going to be fishing the fish finder rig, the Carolina rig, the slip lead, the swivel, the leader, the hook. He's going to be fishing big baits, live baits, big dead baits, and he's going to be catching big quality fish. You're not going to find people who consistently catch good quality fish using chicken rigs. But if you want to take some groceries home, if you're going meat fishing to fill the cooler, chicken rigs do work sometimes. But they suck. And they do cause tangles. So don't chicken rig unless you're using a heavier lead and no more than 2 hooks. That's the rule. But James said in the video 3 hooks. It's hard to find good help. No, he's a good guy, but he says crazy things. So watch the video. It's pretty funny. All right. Are you allowed to connect hooks together? Yes. That's called chaining hooks. And speaking of John Martin, he might still chain hooks. He was chaining hooks together up until like the last couple of years. And I think we've turned John Martin into a Snell rig user. But the original, when I was 8, 9, 10, 12 years old fishing on the 39-hour trips, that was the first time people started using double hook rigs. Not chicken rigs, because I personally would never fish a chicken rig, nor would I endorse them or talk about them. They're the worst. But I'm just kidding. I'm hyperbolizing for effect. But double hook rigs started to become popular like around that time frame, maybe 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. And at first, what people did was they took 2 J hooks. You opened up the eye of one, and then you put the second J hook in it. So you connected the 2 J hooks together. It's called chaining the hooks. And they still do that on the East Coast, drift fishing for kingfish. So you can chain hooks together, but a Snell rig is better. Because the Snell rig has a piece of monofilament between those hooks. Those hooks move more freely. Plus, today's hooks are mostly graphite. The non-stainless hooks are mostly graphite. And remember, in the Gulf, you have to use non-stainless hooks. So most of them are graphite. So you can't chain the hooks together. Because if you go to open up the eye of a graphite hook, it's just going to break. Larry White says, yeah, John Martin still chains hooks together. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. I've tried. I thought I was successful, but maybe not. That's funny. So, double Snell rig is, in my opinion, a little superior to chaining hooks because those hooks have more independent movement And it's just like a lure, right? If that lure is swimming more in the water, it's creating more action, I think it's going to work better. If you chain the hooks together, the second hook doesn't move as much around. And a lot of times that double snell hook, you only caught them with one hook. So if that second one's flopping around a little bit more, I feel like it gives you a better chance of catching that fish. So I like it. All right, it is time. Let's do another giveaway. We did our 5-hour half day. Let's do our 10-hour all day. Answer a few more questions, and then we'll wrap this show up. 10-hour all day. One lucky winner. 2 guests on a 10-hour all day. Winner is William Hutton from Johnson City, Tennessee. Congratulations, William. All these jokes about chicken rigs, you know it takes one click to ban you from the live stream, right, guys? That's just want to throw that out there. All right, next question. What is it? What lead weight do you recommend for your 10-hour trips? About 3 or 4 ounce on your big reel, 1 to 2 ounce on your spinning reel. Next question. When are you getting a tattoo? Growing up in my house, there was 2 big rules. No motorcycles and no tattoos. And now that I've reached, obviously I'm 34. I've been an adult a while, but now that I am not under those house rules, right? It's almost like cooler, in my opinion, or more unique not to have tattoos. So many people our age, Josh and I's age, and if you're 25 to like 35, 40, like it is more common to have a bunch of tattoos than not.
See, it's funny.
So now I feel like I can't get a tattoo because that would like ruin it.
I grew up opposite. I grew up in a motorcycle household where everybody has tattoos. My dad would tattoo himself. So you wanted to be a rebel and not get a tattoo. Every sibling, my mom and my dad, all have tattoos. I do not, and they call me the weirdo. Like, you're weird for not having tattoos. I'm like, why?
Like when I go to my barber shop, I'm the only guy in there without tattoos.
I don't even know if I even like the pair of shoes I'm wearing, and I just bought them. And you want me to put ink on my skin for the next however long? Like,
my brother-in-law, he had the best quote I ever heard is, "You don't put bumper stickers on a Ferrari." Yeah, I like that one a lot. That's a good one. So, to answer your question, I do not have a single tattoo. I have always aspired, if I was going to get a tattoo, it would be a Hubbard's Marina tattoo. My kids and my wife's name and a Hubbard's Marina tattoo. But that's the thing, is I know if I start doing it, I know my personality. I'd be rocking a sleeve real fast. It goes 0 to 100 real quick on
You don't drink anymore, so it's not as extreme as it would be, but I could see it getting out of hand.
It gets out of hand quick.
URLs.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so moving on. But you can get a tattoo for a free fishing trip. Do you guys know about our tattoo deal? Because we got quite a few who have joined the Hubbard's Marina family. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, go to our website, hit info, hit marina info, you can hit the Hubbard's Marina tattoos page. And there is a very strong collection of Hubbard's Marina tattoos that have occurred. So you can join the Hubbard's Marina family on your lower arm or lower leg with a dominant tattoo, and you will get $1,000 in free trip fare with a tattoo. So think about it. All right, next question. Why is it we don't hear a lot about hogfish being caught in my area, Pine Island, south? Because Central West Florida is by far the greatest fishery that the Gulf of Mexico has to offer. It's because not a lot of people fish for them down off Pine Island area. There's not a lot of area for it. It gets deeper a little bit faster down there. It's just a different topography. Off our coast, Central West Florida, up to like Clearwater, this is hogfish mecca. Because of the topography. You can really, even down to like Sarasota, in the Keys, obviously, too, there's a lot of hog fishing down in the Keys, but shallower limestone bottom, we see a lot of hogfish in the middle grounds even, so they go out deeper, too. You have hogfish off Pine Island. It's just you don't have a lot of people fishing for them. But hogfish definitely are from North Carolina all the way south and around the east coast of Florida, through the Keys, through the Bahamas, and all the way up to the Panhandle of Florida. So you have hogfish down there, but you just don't have as much area for them. You don't have as much people fishing for them. But definitely you have hogfish off your coast. Our area has more of them, and it's more common in our area because we have more people fishing up here, a lot more fishing pressure, so a lot more willingness or a lot more effort to catch those fish and show them on social media. And then also our topography is a little different, right? We can go 9 miles offshore, 12 miles offshore, and still be fishing 30, 40 foot. We can go 37 miles offshore and still be inside 110 foot. So we have a lot of area to fish for hogfish. So you can definitely catch hogfish off Pine Island, Sanibel, Marco Island. It's just you have to fish a little differently than you normally would fish. And they've become more common in our area because of regulation shifting too. It wasn't until the last 15 years or so people started to catch hogfish on hook and line. They were 20 years ago, the only people that ever had hogfish were spear fishermen who swam down and shot them. But as regulations change, you have effort shifting. And so regulations changed on all these other species, so people were fishing shallower with lighter tackle, and then all of a sudden they were catching hogfish. And then that caught on. So effort shifts. When I was really young, fishing on the 39-hour trips, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, if I used 60-pound test, I was made fun of. And if I used anything lighter than 60-pound test, Capt. Matt Shimp would come down and cut my line and tell me I couldn't fish anymore. Because we just didn't fish light. Back then, it was 60 pounds was the lightest tackle you'd bring on a 39-hour. And that was, again, you'd be made fun of if you were using it. We fished 80-80, 100-100, or even 150-pound test. Nowadays, you can't do that. You won't get the bites. You have to fish lighter tackle because there's so much effort, so many people out there. These fish see so many hooks. You got to fish a little lighter. So over time, people are using lighter and lighter tackle and shifting their approach to get more bites. All right, what else we got? We got another question before we wrap things up. Do you have a recommended tattoo artist? There is a bunch of them. Ironically, like a bunch of tattoo artists reach out to us now to be the recommended tattoo artist, but no, we don't have an official relationship set up yet. Any truth to if the moon is holding water? What? The moon is holding water, fish will be biting. Don't know what you mean by that. Maybe shoot me another text and you can alliterate on that. Do you have a preference for a rod for trout or redfish on the flats? I like using around a 2,500 to 3,000 for trout and a really slow action soft rod with lighter tackle, 8, 10, 12 pound test. For redfish or snook, you'd want a little heavier, a 3,500, 4,000, and you want a faster action, stiffer rod for snook or redfish. Trout have a really soft mouth, so if you're targeting trout, you're using lighter tackle, slow action, soft tip rod. That way you're not ripping the lips, right? Redfish, you need a stiffer rod. They have a very sturdy mouth. You got to set the hook a little bit more. So 2 different rod setups for sure. All right, do we have another question? Wait, what was that one? I'll answer that one later. When was the data collected for yellow edge grouper? That is a great question. I can tell you it was a long time ago. They're probably going to institute management for that yellow edge grouper 2027, like I mentioned. That assessment concluded, I think, like 2020, early 2024, maybe even late 2023. So that science was probably like 2021, 2022. And it's probably not going to be management until 2027. So, classic example. All right, I think we've pretty much exhausted our questions. We've got a few more I'll try to answer tomorrow, but definitely check out our YouTube channel. Don't forget to please subscribe on YouTube. I'll be at the Golf Council meetings this week. I'll try to keep you up to date through the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page, and of course our supporters group is going to get the most communication and behind the scenes stuff. So supporters, make sure you check out the supporters group this week for updates. If you're not a supporter, you can watch the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page, and I'll try to put a few things out. But definitely don't miss this upcoming Sunday's live stream show where, of course, we're going to go over a lot of that stuff. Ken Gurney, Anthony Barnes, appreciate those stars. Ed Mack, Gary Camage, Tyler Maloof as well. All the stars since we started. Thank you guys for hitting us again. We appreciate y'all. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Hopefully we'll see you next week for another episode. And again, next week we're going to go over what happened at the meeting, so don't miss out. Also, April 15th, Tuesday, April 15th, myself and Captain Mike Anderson live in person, OCC Roadhouse, 7 to 9 p.m. We're going to be giving away Bull Bay rods, Engel coolers, some Real Animals swag, some Hubbard's Marina swag. We're going to be answering your questions live and in person. It's going to be a good time. There's food there, there's beer there, plus it's free to join, free parking. So definitely come out and join us. It's going to be a good time. All right, with that, let's do our Innovative Pools and Spa 39-hour giveaway. One lucky winner. Remember, Innovative Pools and Spa brings you 35 years of experience building pools in the Tampa Bay area, and they're continuing the legacy of their father's company, which was recognized as a top pool builder, again, for over 3 decades. Plus, they continue to raise the bar in pool construction, design, and features, and they have an unparalleled passion for the industry. Check them out today at innovativepoolsandspa.net or give them a call at 727-788-1650 and find out for yourself why Innovative Pools and Spa is the top choice for families in our community. Also, don't forget to check out Gator Gym's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Make sure you write down that address and look up Gator Gym. Stop by and see them. Tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. Great people over there like we were talking about earlier. So hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hopefully we'll see you again next week. And hopefully we'll see you in person Tuesday night, April 15th at OCC Roadhouse. I hear they have great wings. They've got a great beer selection at the bar there. So you can purchase food and drink. You can win free stuff. We're going to have a great time, myself and Captain Mike. So hopefully you'll join us again. And then with that, hopefully we'll see you next week for another show. I think that's all I had. Yeah, that's it. We'll see you guys next week. Let's find out who won our 39-hour trip. For one lucky winner, 39-hour goes to Mark Bowen from St. Pete. Congratulations, Mark. You got that 39-hour. You got 5 minutes or less. Text us your home address to see if you're the lucky, or to claim your free trip. We already saw that you're the lucky winner. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great day. Thanks for being a part of our Hubbard's Marina family. Real or supporters after show. What time does that start, Josh? Let's say 8:55. 7 minutes. You got that? All right. He's got it. 7 minutes away. Supporters after show kicks off at 8:55. We'll see you there in our supporters group. Thanks for being a part of our Hubbard's Marina family. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Have a good night, y'all.